In 2026, the TSP rules are changing. And if you make more than $145,000 as a federal employee, the TSP is going to require that you put your catch-up contributions into the Roth. Now, let me explain exactly what I'm talking about, who this actually impacts, and who it doesn't. So to clarify, if you make more than $145,000, and if you made that rather in 2025, because this rule won't actually be applied until 2026. So if in 2025, your salary, your wages for Social Security were higher than 145, then your catch-up contributions going into TSP have to go into the Roth TSP. Now, let me explain what that means. So there is what they call the normal contributions to TSP and then the catch-up. The normal is up to $23,500. However, if you're age 50 plus, you can actually put more than that normal contribution into the TSP. If you are 50 plus, you can put an additional $7,500 into TSP. Now, this rule does not impact what you can do with the normal contribution. You can put this $23,500 in the traditional TSP or Roth, doesn't matter. You can do either one. However, if you, again, make more than 145, then this $7,500 will be required to go into the Roth. You won't have a choice on that matter. It will be required to go into Roth if you're putting money above and beyond $23,500. Now, if you didn't know, if you're between age 60 and 63, you actually have a higher catch-up limit. Instead of $7,500, it's an additional $11,250, which this would be the amount required to go to Roth if, again, you are contributing more into TSP above and beyond the $23,500. So this only applies to people that are age 50 plus, because if you're not 50 plus, you can't put in catch-up contributions anyway. So you have to be 50 plus and in the prior year make more than $145,000. Now you might ask, what counts towards that 145? Basically what they're going to be looking at is wages that count towards Social Security. So if it's a type of income that goes towards Social Security, then it'll count towards this 145. All right? So that's how it works. So long story short, if you are a high earner, make more than 145, you're 50 plus, and you're going to be contributing more than the base, your money has to go to Roth. And let me explain why this might matter. Some people say, well, isn't Roth really nice to have? Because once it's in there, it can grow tax-free. And yes, that's true, but it's not the best option for everybody. Let me explain, okay? So basically, let me clean up some space. Basically, the goal is to save as much in taxes as possible over the course of your life. At least that's most people's goal. So let's say this is your life, right? And let's say while you're working, your income creeps up over time as you just make more and more and more. And then when you retire, the question is, what happens to your income? For most people, it does something like this, right? Where they retire right here and their income kind of drops. That's not always the case, but many times that does happen to some degree. So if you're at the peak earning years of your career, that is not the time to be putting money into Roth for most people. For most people, they want to get a tax deduction when they're at the peak earning years of your career. Now, you want to make sure you do the math for yourself to say, what tax bracket are you in right now compared to retirement? And maybe Roth is the best choice for you. You got to make that call. But long story short, if you're going to be required to put the catch-up contributions into Roth, then you may want to plan your other contributions, like your normal contributions, accordingly. If you normally put a piece of your normal contributions into the Roth, maybe back that off depending on what your goal is. Maybe putting it into Roth is exactly what you want. I don't know. You got to make that call for yourself. But now you understand the rule change for high earners making 145 plus in TSP starting January 2026. I hope that's helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video.